Go. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for watching the COVID Diaries. Today, I'm interviewing Emma Kirkham. Hi, Emma. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you for having me.
Okay, so let's just start with, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and why you decided to get into your business.
Okay, so I'm Emma Kirkham and I run a business called Emma Kirkham Glass. That is a handmade glass business. I predominantly work in what we call fused glass, and that is literally taking several layers of glass and fusing them together to create decorative items or works of art. I've been working in glass now since 1992.
Oh,
So I've
wow.
been doing it a little while. I'm actually a trained glass blower. That's what I specialised in. And then 7 years ago, I had a divorce. He got the glass blowing equipment and I got the boys. So I needed to find a new way to be producing glass. And for anybody who doesn't know, setting up a glass blowing studio is a very, very expensive investment. So I looked at what I could still do with glass, and that was fusing, and it's something that I started doing. That was the first thing I did when I started my business back in 1992.
Okay, that's really good.
Yeah. So it's something that I've been doing for a long time, but as of March this year, we obviously had a little bit of change. Everybody did. We had to look at how we were running our businesses, and I was in a situation where I was looking at, could I get the supplies to fulfill my orders, and there was a little bit of and ahhing and uncertainty about whether the orders could be fulfilled, because I didn't know if I could get the supplies in. And at the same time, I was hearing a lot of fellow crafters saying basically, my events are being cancelled, I can't get to sell my goods, I don't know what on earth I'm going to do. And when I came to the UK 7 years ago, I didn't want to be going to events, I didn't want to be selling on Etsy, and I didn't have a Facebook page. So, sorry, not Facebook page, I didn't have a website. So I actually used my Facebook page to build my business, and I used predominantly events to do that. So I sort of set a program together so that I could help other product-based businesses generate their leads and sales using Facebook events, so that I could help those fellow crafters who were really struggling at the time to be making the sales.
Oh my God, that's amazing. So what was the idea behind the glass? Like, is that something that you've always wanted to do, or is it just, how did you get into that in the beginning?
Okay, so I got into the glass at art college. I'd been to a lot of parties, as you do at art college. We had several wine bottles left over, and the buzzword at the time was recycling. And I was looking at what I could actually do with all these glass bottles to recycle them. And I had the very whiz bang idea of smashing them all up and putting them in a plaster mold and popping them into the kiln. So back in the day, we didn't have Google. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. So it was literally just throwing it into the kiln, whacking the temperature up and hoping for the best. Now, bearing in mind these were ceramic kilns and nobody was working with glass, I really was kind of like doing it secretively, so nobody knew what I was doing. And when I got the first piece out, I remember running to the lecturer and going, look what I've done, I thought I'd literally invented the wheel, and was massively disappointed when he turned around and said, yeah, use glass, congratulations. It's like, oh. But since then, I was absolutely hooked on this idea of creating things in glass. So I carried on with that, and then went off to university and did a degree in glassmaking.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. Is my sound coming across okay to you? Because it's crackly this end. It's okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So you mentioned obviously the COVID. We can't not mention it. You just said that you guys are going into tier 2 tonight. How is the COVID mean that you've had to adapt to the business, and how has that pivoted your business? Is it pivoted forward or?
Yeah, well, actually, it boosted mine massively, because I saw the needs and wants of other crafters to have help getting online. A lot of them had perhaps got a website, but they weren't getting traffic to the website. They'd got events that they've booked, or they were running workshops where they were teaching others how to create, and they weren't able to actually do that. So they were losing money. So as I said earlier, I'd looked at this and thought, well, I'm using Facebook events. I can show others how to do it without, it's not just a case of creating an event and doing it. There's a whole like program before, during and after of what you can do with an event to generate all your leads and sales, so that you don't have to be reliant on the normal craft fairs, your normal events, and generally being face to face, which is what a lot of crafters do. They have a website, but they still heavily rely on that face to face contact to be selling. And obviously, with us going into that lockdown, we weren't able to do that. So I took that opportunity to help others. So it's kind of creating the ripple effect. It was helping me, obviously bringing an income, but it was massively helping them because it was transforming their businesses. One lady I helped, she made £1,600 in literally 40 minutes because she'd followed the program. And she said, I can't believe, you know, I can do that from the comfort of my own home, and which is what I'm all about, showing people how to do this from their home.
That's, I mean, that's such a timely, that's what very, very much reading the public and reading the time, isn't it? I think there's a whole host of people that have managed to almost like reinvent their businesses during the lockdown. I mean, from your point of view, I guess there's a lot more people that would be interested in craft. There's a lot of people that are furloughed, and so you know, this is an opportunity for them to actually have a look into something different and use that free time for something that's a little bit more imaginative. So in terms of like your branding vision, what do you feel makes you stand out from the competitors?
Because I've been there and done that. I'm not just creating a program because I can see there's a need for it. I've actually been there, done that, and I'm hosting my own events. I mean, I've got an event tonight, so people can see I'm still actively doing those events. I'm not just saying this is how you do it and then sitting back. I'm actually in there doing it at the same time as people, so that can actually live that experience with me. And it's very much I've been there and done it, so I can show you. So you know, you're not making the same mistakes as I've made, and it'll save you time and money because I've been there and done it, and I know what does and doesn't work. So obviously I'm still able to create my glass work, but I'm also really able to help other people get their businesses visible, because you know, with us going back into lockdown now more than ever, people are looking for things to do online. They're looking for gifts more than ever because they want to feel good, they want to help other people feel good. So in terms of a handmade business or a product-based business, now's the time to be online and you'll really, really shine. But it isn't just product-based businesses that can be used in events. You know, even if you're a service-based business, the opportunity is there for you to use those events so that you can actually be creating money from promoting your service on an event as well. I've had people that you know, want to have their online karate business become more visible, so we've worked on ways of creating an event to get the visibility up and make sales of places on the online karate event. So you know, it works for any business. It's just I'm really passionate about helping other handmade businesses make the most of this opportunity.
I think that's amazing, because there are people, you know, for all of us really, you do have to find different ways to make money. I'm guilty of being mainly events before the lockdown. Also, you know, I relied a lot on promoting events for people and working at events and stuff. And obviously when that all stopped, it's, you know, for everybody we had to just say, okay, how do we reinvent the wheel, you know, and carry on. And so what do you feel like, what do you wish that you'd known when you first started out? Is there something that you go, oh, that would have made all the difference?
How much your mindset actually affects everything. You know, people say, oh, you know, that there's a lot of the business side of things. Obviously you need to know about your marketing and things like that, but actually if you haven't got a strong mindset and you're not firm in the belief in yourself, that's actually more likely to hold you back than anything else in business. So that's, you know, that's one thing that I wish I'd known before I started, was like how much belief you have to have in yourself, because there are so many things that can bump you along the way, and actually give you those wobbles that if you're not careful, that's what will derail you more likely than anything else.
I mean, it's tough, you know, being a business owner is tough. Like you say, there are bumps, you know, and there are always going to be bumps. It doesn't matter if you're a multimillionaire or if you're just starting out, you know, everybody has to face those. So what's the biggest challenge that you faced, do you feel, and how did you overcome it?
My biggest challenge was actually when I came back to the UK. It was literally starting from scratch. I built up a can't get the word out, successful business over in the Netherlands. I'd lived there for 13 years, built up
Okay.
a successful business with my then husband, and that was going well. And obviously, so I'd got everybody over there, and I got all the marketing over there, and that was going well. And I literally had to come back here with 2 small children on my own and start from scratch again. So that was one of the challenges that I overcame, was, you know, just that starting from scratch again.
And that's where you came into, did you say the fused glass? Was it fused?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
where you came into that.
Yes. Yeah, it's like that. Basically, that's kind of a little bit of fused glass.
Yeah, I
Just
saw
so you
those on
get,
your website actually. They're very
yeah, yeah.
pretty.
Thank
Um,
you.
they're very nice. What do you think is your unique skill that's made you be successful?
I honestly do think it's the mindset behind it, and staying positive. And like you mentioned earlier, it's seeing that potential when there's a situation happening, being mindful of, right, this is going on at the moment, so let's work towards that, because we can help people now, and having that ability to sort of switch quite quickly, and also just being consistent with what I'm doing. Not necessarily flitting backwards and forwards, being present on my social media, and building up one particular platform at a time, rather than going at it, you know,
Yeah.
several different areas. You know, I've really built up the presence on my Facebook and utilise that to the maximum. Obviously, I am present on other social media channels, but it was literally looking at one area and thinking, right, I'm going to get kind of my
So
feet
that
under
one, and
the
then
table
move
with
on
this
to the next
one,
one.
and build that up, rather
Yeah.
than just thinking, right, I'll be on here, I'll be on here, and I'll be on here and be on here.
So if someone was to come to you now, so if you had some entrepreneur that was to come to you now and they really want to start up on their own,
Yeah.
but they're too scared to do it, what advice would you give?
I'd ask them, what is it really that's holding them back, you know, because quite often the answers, when you look at them, and you can flip them on the head, and then that'll give you that encouragement that you need to actually go forward. And I'd also say, now more than ever I know it seems bonkers, but now more than ever is a fantastic opportunity to be starting a business, because there are so many opportunities out there. Like I said, now more than ever, people are online looking for things to do. They're bored, they're scrolling more, they're looking for their needs to be met more than ever online, especially using social media. That they're literally scrolling and looking all the time. So if you can have the courage to start your business and make sure you're visible, and have the courage to be visible as much as possible, you'll make a success of your business.
I totally agree. We advocate a lot of live video and a lot of videos for social media now, and that really makes a difference where you stand out, because we're also busy. You know, we go for our phones as quick as possible, scrolling. So I think, you know, being able to stand out from the crowd and being able to kind of show yourself, I think that's massive at the moment. What do you think is the most common reason for people failing or giving up?
People often use the same money, or, you know, they're just not getting the sales and things like that. But when you dig much deeper, like I said, into the mindset of it, quite often the problem is with us internally, and we're putting our own blocks up. Perhaps we're not being as visible as we should. Perhaps we're not putting as much effort into the marketing as we really should. And it's quite often, when you take a step back from it and have a look, it's probably something we were doing, rather than saying that, you know, nobody's interested in my products, but actually, were you marketing your products to the right area of an audience? You know, you know, if you just got like a sort of blanket approach and hoping for the best, it's not going to work. But if you actually niche down and know who you're trying to sell your products to and who you're trying to help, then you're more likely to be successful.
And consistently as well. I think in the beginning, you know, there is a tendency to feel like you're just talking to yourself, and, you know, no one's out there. But if you just consistently just put yourself out there, all of a sudden, you know, people will start noticing and start coming to you. So what's your secret to staying motivated?
My kids.
Okay.
basically, because ultimately I started doing it so I could support us, and that's, you know, that's still the case. I ultimately do everything with that motivation in mind, that what I'm doing is to help them, and to give us a nice life and to provide for our future together. So ultimately they're the biggest sort of motivators for me. And so if I'm ever having a bit of a so, you know, I just think, you know, why am I doing this? And then I remind myself it's for the kids. And then, you know, it's quite quick to get back into the feeling like, okay, I need to crack on and change my, like I said, flick that switch.
Are they involved in what you do?
Oh, massively. Like on the event tonight, my boy's going to be here and he'll be helping co-host the event and he'll be talking about it. If they fancy it, they come and make some glass with me. So they are massively involved. I mean, my eldest is now on about, can he do more on the Instagram side for me? Because he loves Instagram. And I said, yeah, why not? We'll sit down and work it out, a bit of plan of action. So it's good for them because they get to see how sort of a solo business runs. Because who knows, they'll probably go into their own kind of business when they're older anyway.
What do you feel has been your biggest failure over the last 12 months, and kind of how did you overcome it?
I don't think I've had a failure as such, if I'm perfectly honest, because I know I did have a wobble when we were going into lockdown, and thinking, oh my gosh, what am I going to do if I can't get the supplies? I can't fulfill the orders. If I can't fulfill the orders, I can't bring in any income. So, you know, I did have that wobble like probably everybody else in the country did, but it was taking that opportunity and turning it from a wobble into something that was going to be a success. So whilst, you know, I temporarily possibly did have a fail in terms of a wobble, I don't think I've had not something that I would class as a massive fail.
Oh, that's good to hear. So what do you feel like, obviously right now you've pivoted from, you've gone from being into a physical events into online events. What do you feel is the biggest challenge in your industry right now?
What do I think? So in terms of the giftware side, doing the glass making, because obviously I still do that. I'm still very heavily promoting my glass making. Like I said, I've got an event this evening. For me, it's, you know, all about staying visible, and it's consistently being visible, and that is a challenge because there are so many people out there trying to be visible. So it's making sure that behind the scenes is running smoothly so I can consistently be out there promoting what I'm doing. And in terms of helping the others, for me, it's a massive motivator to see the ripple effect of me you know, producing a program that's helping handmade, artisan and product businesses get themselves out there, the ripple effect of then seeing how many sales they're doing and how well their business is doing, and just hearing the feedback of, oh my gosh, I can't believe I can, you know, I can just literally do this from home. You know, I'm not having to stand out in the cold. So sort of that ripple effect is it's massive for me, and it's something that, you know, I think spurs me on to keep going with that side of the business as well.
It's funny actually, I was talking to a lady a couple of weeks ago, and you just reminded me of her, but she was selling from market, so she was selling jam of all the things, but she was selling it from markets, and I said to her, you know, are you missing it? And she said, no. She said, I can sell from my kitchen, it's warm, I'm not in the cold anymore, I'm actually can. And she was quite delighted that she was, you know, actually doing her stuff from the warmth of her kitchen, as opposed to getting up at dawn and standing somewhere. So what do you think has been, or is there any resources that have really made a difference? I'm guessing you're probably going to say social media. Do you feel like that's been the biggest resource?
I mean, like, I started on social media, so I'm always going to advocate using social media, to be perfectly honest. But one of the other things that I use, that I don't know whether it's helpful to others, but I think it's a massive help to me, is I use something called the Trello app, and I use that to help me keep organised and stay on top of things. And it might seem very trivial, but actually when it helps you to stay when you've got your planning all on there, and you've got your promoting all on there, and you know what you're doing in terms of when you're promoting something, when that's going out, etc. It's a massive help, because, you know, having it on paper is excellent, but if you've got it on your phone, that goes everywhere with you. So
yeah, I mean, I use Trello myself actually. I use Trello quite a lot. When I've got coaching clients and stuff, I keep everything there. I know who I'm, where I'm at, who I'm with, what I'm doing, and also planning on your social media out for the week. It just makes life very simple. So I forget that Trello is. I'm so used to using it, you forget to think of it as a resource.
So that is one of my resources. And then obviously keeping your mindset tip top. you know, there's several things that, you know, it might not seem like a resource, but, you know, just having that time to reset in the day, so that you get your mindset back, you know, and keep yourself in that high energy, because we all have slumps, we all have moments, and, you know, we have peaks and troughs in our own days where we've got high energy and low energy, and it's being mindful of that as well, and then resetting when you need to.
Okay, so that's been really, really interesting speaking to you. I've only got one question left. What are you not good at? You sound like you're amazing at everything. What are you not good at?
Probably the bookkeeping. That's why I've got a bookkeeper.
Uh,
It's not something, and I'll be perfectly honest, I'm not good at housework. I'm just not cut out for housework and cooking. I do it because it has to be done, but it's not something that I'd say I was good at. Everything else, business wise, it's okay, but, you know, like I say, I've got a bookkeeping and accountant, you know, that's what they're there for, so that you can excel at the things you're good at, and then you can give that side of things to people where they excel. And I think that's another really big thing about running a business, isn't it? Looking at
you have to recognise your strengths and weaknesses, and so if there's something that you're not good at, then you get somebody to do that for you. You'll be an artist, so you're always gonna like defer to the artistic side and not to the
absolutely.
The bookkeeping is not very artistic. Well, hopefully it's not too artistic.
Hopefully
it's
some
not.
people might say that bookkeepers and accountants are very creative, but, you know,
we'll move on from that before we
I don't want to start a war.
So thank you so much for sharing your journey this morning. It's been really interesting. And if anybody wants to get hold of you, Emma, then they want to sign up for either some coaching on how to run their events, or they want to look at your products, how would they be able to get hold of you?
Okay, there's several ways you can get hold of me. Firstly, I'm going to say, obviously, via Facebook. You can find me on my personal profile, which is just Emma Kirkham, or my Facebook page is Emma Kirkham Glass, and you can drop me a message through there. I do have a website, that's also emmakirkhamglass.com, and you can email me via the website at emma@emmakirkhamglass.com. I have got other social media channels where you can message me, and they're all under Emma Kirkham Glass. So it should be nice and easy to find me. So whether you're interested in a glass product, or whether you're interested in having help with the social selling side of things using Facebook events, any of those ways you can contact me for either of them. So it should be nice and easy to get hold of me.
Okay, so I will what we will do is put the links in the comments below, so you don't even need to go and search for them. So we'll put Emma's website and her Facebook page in the comments below. So all that remains for me to say is thank you so much for this morning. Is there anything that you wanted to add?
I just want to say thank you so much for having me and giving me this opportunity to share my little sort of story with you all. It's been fantastic, and I've loved it. And if anybody is thinking about you know, starting a business, go for it, because now is really a prime time to be doing it.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for that. Look forward to speaking to you again. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
I need to stop. That's all right. I'll cut this off in a minute. I can't, because I haven't used it on my phone. Stop.